Welcome to Hallar. Sarge's opening hand goes, I like this hand, but man, if we do not hit that third land off Kodama's reach, we are kind of in a rough spot. Yeah, let's go and mulligan. Yeah, let's go and mulligan. Hopefully we don't get punished for it. All right, we did. Let's go. Let's go one more mulligan. Forest, and then, yeah, we're going to keep on this one. We have Tireless Tracker. Oh, Temple of Abandon. Yes, we'll put you on top. Thank you very much, Temple of Abandon, for saving the day. Anything else, we'll let our opponent do their thing, get their turn on the get the turn going. We're playing Hallar, the Firefletcher. Trample. Whenever you cast a spell, if the spell is kicked, put a +1 counter on Hallar. Then Hallar deals damage equal to the number of +1 counters on it to each opponent. Let's go and grab that Temple of Abandon. Let's go and get the Scry going. The Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity, the questioning of one's own. Alright, Canopy Surge deals 1 damage to each creature with flying, and each player, if that spell was kicked, it deals 4 damage. Want to get some lands going, so let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Really need some good lands, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. We're playing against Jhoira. Maybe Jhoira. I don't know, who knows. More than likely Jhoira. Weatherlight Captain. Whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. So we'll see what we're up against. I have a Jhoira deck that's a lot of fun to pilot. It's a Cheerios version of the deck. If you want to check that out, head over to my playlist section. I do have it over there. It's really, I mean, if you want to draw cards and just combo off in a turn, that's the deck for you. Let's go ahead and go for Miss. Yeah, it's one of those decks that it's kind of like a shelter. Let's go and grab Shelter Thick. Have it come to play tap, and then we'll kick the turn over our opponent. Yeah, my Jhoira deck is definitely one of those decks that you don't want to play all the time, but it feels nice to kind of do some busted things. And really what inspired, I don't know if I've said this, I think I've said it in one of my videos, but one of the things that really made me want to do Jhoira, like Cheerios, like Artifacts, Storm or whatever, was I watched Pleasant Kenobi. He did a Paradox Storm vintage deck, and I was just like, I want to do that. It sounds like fun. And so, yeah, so that's what I kind of basically did. Let's go and go for Tireless Tracker, or do you want to go for Hallar? We have no kickers, and it's almost like I want to get some clue tokens going. Yeah, let's do that. Well, I guess technically we hit the lane drop next turn. No, let's go for Tireless Tracker. We're going to get as much clue tokens as possible, especially if our opponent's going to be getting a lot of card draw going. So let's go ahead and go for Tireless Tracker. We do have Cinderglade. We can get that down next turn and kind of get that going. And then anything else, we're going to go pass turn to our opponent. Now, we do have Fling in the hand. I did pick up the promo version of Fling, so I kind of really like that. The other ones, it's classic. You have the Goblin on it. But this version of Fling, it reminded me of something out of a Kresh deck. And just between the Warriors and that person that's just taking a nap. Like, hey, Steve, go take a nap on the catapult. And then he doesn't know that he's about to get thrown. And so... but yeah, I like Steve taking a nap on the catapult. Looks pretty good. Opponent's going to get out a Sword of Light and Shadows. Give them protection from white and black, which at least we can still go and trade Chump Block on Jhoira if we want to do that. But we're going to let them come across. And that's going to be us return a creature card. And yeah, that's all it is. It's deal combat damage. You gain 3 life and you return 1 creature card from. I thought we had to discard a card or something like that. So yeah, Sword of Light and Shadow's not too bad. All right, they're going to deal 5 damage. That will be 5 total commander damage, and that will put us down. Sorry, I'm thinking about Steve, like them tricking Steve to get on the nap, take a nap on the catapult, and then then he gets thrown, and he gets just waking up for the ride of his life. All right. So we do have Gear Hulk. We can get that down. Hopefully, going to take care of Jhoira. But we'll see what else we roll into. Let's go and go for Hallar. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's get down Hallar. Let's go and go for Cinderglade. Let's go and go for Cinderglade. We're going to get that clue token onto the battlefield. And I guess at this point, we could double block with Jhoira, but I don't think that's what we want to do. They're going to be gaining that 3 lives. It's almost... yeah, that's fine. We'll just go and let this sit back. Maybe it'll stop our opponent from swinging in. That's fine with me. We'll at least leave the option for them to maybe hold back with Jhoira, since we do have at least 6 points of damage onto the battlefield. Now, fingers crossed, hopefully we do hit the lane drop for the turn. That's going to be us going for Gear Hulk, which you can kind of distribute those +1 counters, however we want to get those going. We also do have Mold Shambler, so if we can get to 6 mana, enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent, that's going to allow us to at least kind of take care of Sword of Light and Shadow to make Jhoira not so scary. You know, if she's on her the deck of her ship with a sword out there, it's a little bit scary. At least it's going to scare Hallar and Tireless Tracker a little bit. So if we can kind of take care of that Sword of Light and Shadow, it's going to put us a little bit of ease, and we don't have to worry about this continual onslaught of 5 commander damage per turn. But we'll see what we draw into. If we don't hit the lane drop, we still have the clue token to go for too, so we can at least crack that and dig just a little bit deeper. Now with fleeing, sacrifice a creature deals damage equal to any target. So with fleeing, if we can somehow maybe get down Gear Hulk, if we need to, we can go for fleeing on something like Tireless Tracker. If we start cracking some of those clue tokens, maybe a couple more clue tokens, that'll put us online for fleeing. We can deal that damage to Jhoira, especially if she's swinging in or something like that. Opponent went for Galvanic Blast, 4 damage to target permanent. Okay, all right, let's get Hallar pop back up. So that does send Hallar back to the command zone. So hopefully at this point, if we can get those clue tokens going, Solidarity of Heroes, okay. Let's go and crack the clue token. Really want to see if we can't hit a land drop. Put a +1 counter on that one. If we need to, we can use Solidarity to amplify a Tireless Tracker to that one. But kind of depends on how bad we want to take care of Jhoira. That's going to be us flinging that one. They're still going to be able to swing in. Yeah, let's just go and pass the turn. Yeah, we're going to kick the turn to our opponent. Okay, there we go. They're going to pass the turn. If we need to use Solidarity of Heroes on Tireless Tracker, we can. We might end up having to do for that. It's going to be 15 total commander damage that our opponent has dealt to us once they swing in this turn. And so if we need to stop that from coming across, we definitely kind of need to at least kind of stop that from happening. Then if that does happen, that kind of leaves us open as far as Jhoira swinging in. We still have Gear Hulk to get down, and then hopefully that'll allow us to maybe kind of stabilize just for a little bit. But we'll see what's going on, though. All right, opponent's going to go for Thoughtcast, Affinity, draw 2 cards. But Solidarity of Heroes, this is such, if you're thinking about building Hallar, definitely put this in there. Great card. It is, I can't tell how many games I've stolen with Solidarity of Heroes. Hallar does have trample, and Hallar actually does make for a really good Voltron commander too. So that's why, I thought about going Voltron with Hallar and using a very minimal package for kicker spells, but yeah, it was just one of those, I just really wanted to get Hallar on the battlefield and just kind of use those kickers. It was really fun doing that, but I cannot speak enough of Solidarity of Heroes. It's going to steal you games, whether you're swinging with Hallar and you have Keswick Wolfrun on the battlefield. Not that those necessarily interact with each other, but there's just going to be a lot of times where you can double the number of +1 counters on Hallar, either going for combat damage or simply just, let's say you do cast a kicker spell, something like Savage Offense for 3. In response to that kicker spell, you go for Solidarity of Heroes and end up with a ton of +1 counters on Hallar. So makes for some really fun. It really makes it easy to kind of get a Hallar win, because if you're going to be sitting there playing the full sticker price for your kicker spells every single turn, it's really slow. You're looking at about 1 counter per turn. Yeah, let's go and do this. If we don't hit the land drop and crack the clue, I hate burning it on this one, but we've got to do what we've got to do. It's at least going to guarantee us next turn that we can go for fling. So we need to do this. We're going to double the number of +1 counters on Tireless Tracker. That leaves him only 1 red mana open, so hopefully we don't really have to worry about any sort of spot removal in response to that. Draw the Tormenting Voice, and in fact, let's go and go for that. Let's go and discard a card and draw 2 cards. Let's go and discard at this point right now. I like Gear Hulk. Yeah, we're going to get rid of Unstable Footing. We're kind of a little bit far away from that 5 mana, and then everything else kind of gives us a little bit of a better game plan. So let's go and go for that. Draw into a land. Let's go and get down Windswept Heath. We're going to be able to investigate. Let's go and swing in for 5. It's going to knock them down to 34. And they'll be able to go for that fleeing activation. I think what we could do this at the end of our turn, but I think I kind of want to wait during their combat step. If they've got a counter spell, they've got it. I guess technically we could send it back, because either way, if we go for Jhoira at this point right now, all they're going to do is simply just recast Jhoira and put Sword back on there. If we do this during their combat step, it's going to make it them a little bit hard. Yeah, I'm okay with making that risk. That's fine. Even if they do counter it, that's at least going to be 1 more commander damage, putting us at exactly 20. So we can make that work, and then we kind of start going from there. Blessings of Nature, it's really fun to have in the deck, but I can't tell you how many times I just draw into it when we're not going to be able to get the miracle cost going. It's kind of like Temple of the False God, almost in a way, with Blessings of Nature. It's really fun to rub it in here, and you definitely need stuff like Blessings of Nature to get those +1 counters going on Hallar, especially when you have something that can amplify the number of +1 counters late game. But it's almost comical at how many times that this has happened. Yeah, let's go and go for fling. So we're going to choose a target. We're going to choose Jhoira. And there we go. Tap out for green, and now we're going to sacrifice. There we go. Sacrifice Tireless Tracker. Oh, damn, I meant to crack Windswept Heath to get a clue token. Sorry about that. I was just really worried, because with fleeing, if you're new to Magic Online, you can accidentally, if you think you're clicking on the creature you want to sacrifice to target something else, you can actually misclick with Fling on accident. You can actually target Fling onto Tireless Tracker and kind of mess up on that one. So sorry, I was just making sure that I didn't simply target Tireless Tracker with that one. So that was a little bit of a misplay on my part, but it's not the end of the world. Been nice to have an extra clue token, but stuff like that does happen. That's Commander. Let's go and crack Windswept Heath, and once we see whatever our opponent's going to go for Jhoira again. Okay, let's go and crack Windswept Heath. The good thing about Gear Hulk down is we can get a ton of counters on it, and it's at least going to stop Jhoira from swinging in. Let's hopefully we can kind of stabilize at this point right now. So get down Jhoira, and then they are sitting at 6 cards in the hand. So something like a bounce spell would be really, really bad for us, because that's going to be almost commander damage, putting it at 20 at least. All right, drawn to Wooded Foothills. Let's go and get down Wooded Foothills. Do we want to go for Gear Hulk? Or if we end up going for Mold Shambler, we can destroy the Sword of Light and Shadow, and it's also going to stop Jhoira from swinging in. I think that might be a little bit better play. Now, we do miss out on Hallar on this one, but yeah, I think I like going for that one. That's going to be 6 total kicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's go and crack Wooded Foothills. That's going to put us down to 12. Let's go and grab Taiga. Let's go and go for the kicker off Mold Shambler. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to hold M on this one. That way we can just tap the lands. Let's get this onto the battlefield. We're going to pay that kicker cost and take care of Sword of Light and Shadow. There we go. It's going to target Sword of Light and Shadow. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So it puts our opponent in a spot where they're going to have to dump out the rest of the stuff in their hand. We didn't see a counterspell earlier on Fling, so more than likely we're okay with rolling some more stuff out. And then we can go for Hallar. And hopefully, you know, we do have a pretty good setup in our hand. You know, let's say that we do tap out for Hallar. That's going to be 5 total mana. You know, this is a few turns later, but we go for Gear Hulk, 4 counters. We go for Blessings of Nature, that's 8 counters. And we go for Savage Offensive. That's going to be pretty good for us to... you know, and that's the fun thing about playing Hallar is that Savage, kicker 3, creature you control gain first strike until end of turn. If it's they get +1/+1. So if you've actually had a game to where you get a lot of these kicker creatures on the battlefield, you can use Savage to kind of give a buff to, you know, Hallar. Hallar is going to have trample, and so you give it first strike and trample. It really allows you to kind of, oh, Mirror Battlesphere coming down. Okay. We got the got our work cut out for us. All right, get those mirrors going too. Now the downside to Mirror Battlesphere is that it deals X damage to the player. All right, so they're gonna be able to deal that damage once they tap those mirrors. So and then probably no swing in from Jhoira either. All right, no swing in. See what we draw into. Draw into Forest. Let's go and get the Forest down. Do we want to tap out for Hallar? Yeah, let's go and do that. Let's go and tap out for Hallar. It's gonna be. We need to get some kickers going. We're maybe looking at sequencing Gear Hulk next turn. We still have the clue token to go for 2 to go and crack that one. We're going to get Hallar down. That'll be another 3/3 body. And we're looking at Mirror Battlesphere swinging across. We can take another Mirror Battlesphere hit. Unfortunately, with the damage and the hit, it's going to be getting our life total down a little bit lower than I'd want to go for, but we're going to try our best to kind of make this work, you know. We do have at least Gear Hulk to get that down, get the 4 counters on Hallar, deal that damage up top, and then we can use Savage Offense as that final kicker to hopefully kind of get some stuff moving. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Hallar is a lot of fun to play. I've really enjoyed my time playtesting it, but Hallar is definitely kind of more of a tier 2 commander. There's a lot of moving parts to make Hallar work. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't play Hallar. It's just, you know, when I'm recording some of these commanders, I like to be upfront and honest. You know, if I've had a little bit of trouble getting good videos, I haven't really had trouble getting good videos with Hallar. There's just sometimes where Hallar does good. It's kind of like when you play a homebrew in Modern, you know. If you're playing a homebrew deck, you definitely do better against tier 2 decks or other homebrew decks because they're not as polished and they're not as efficient. There's a reason those tier 1 decks are at the top of their tier. And Hallar is definitely one of those commanders that... if you Psychonic Rift on Hallar, oh, bummer. All right, so it's going to send it back to the hand. Yeah, we're going to go for a clue token crack in response to that. All right, crack that clue token, draw a card. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, Hallar is what I would consider maybe a tier 2, tier 3 commander, and it's really rewarding if you can get a win. Let me phrase it that way. You know, you should never not play a commander because you're worried about your win percentage. I approach Commander in a perspective of, you know, how much fun can we play? Is this a fun deck to pilot? Or a lot of interesting lines of play to go for? And this is definitely one of those decks that there's a lot of interesting lines of play. So you can see where, you know, let's say that we did, you know, in a perfect world, ooh, We got Mirror Pool coming down, making a copy of Mirror Bouncer. That was pretty brutal by our opponent. But you can see we're in a perfect world. Let's say that we do get a bunch of puzzle encounters on Hallar. We get Fling going. We get down Gear Hulk and stuff like that. Simply casting some of these cheap kicker spells that's going to allow us to do some really quick damage to our opponent. So it's definitely possible to have a really explosive turns with Hallar. It's just sometimes you're going to end up in certain scenarios like this where we're getting blasted for 8 by our Mirror Battlesphere. Okay, let's see what kind of damage is going to happen on this one. Okay, so we're down to 3. Let's go ahead and chump block with Mold Shambler on Mirror Bowser because we do want to stay alive. Now, there's one out into the deck, and that's going to be Blasphemous Act. If we can draw into Blasphemous Act, that's going to allow us to get rid of all of the creatures and then hopefully stabilize. So, let's go Magic Gods. Blasphemous up, Kodama's Reach. That's not going to get it done. Good game to our opponent. It's fun seeing a traditional build of Jhoira, or at least using Mirror Battlesphere to get a ton of damage off that one and getting that going. But we're gonna go scoop it up. Opponent's gonna have lethal coming across the next turn. Like I said, we had one out, and that was gonna be Blasphemous Act. We did not draw into it, and it's not in the top 3, so I don't feel bad anymore. But anyways, yeah, you can just pretty much see this is what you want to get going on with Hallar. You know, right now I'm running about 2 to 3 cards with the Fling ability in here. I don't know if this is what I want to do. Going into the future, running Fling in here, I would at least run 1 copy of Fling. I've got about 3 cards in here that do the Fling ability. So after playing some games, especially 1 versus 1, it's just a little slow sometimes getting Hallar going. I'd probably back it off just to 1 Fling. But if you're thinking about building Hallar, definitely run at least 1 copy of Fling in there because it'll still use some games. And other than that, you can pretty much see this is what we got going on. And then I also highly suggest some cheap kicker spells. I built this deck with a ton of kicker spells before, and it didn't really translate that well. You know, you want to have some, when you get Hallar on the battlefield, get those good +1 counters going, and you want to pay 3 to deal about 8 to 10 damage to your opponent. That's kind of the sweet spot for the deck. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.